What's good, baby?
What up?
Whew, not much. Sorry, I was having a little difficulties turning off the music there. But what's good?
You
What's
were
good?
getting lost in the vibe.
I was. It happens to me every time.
How's it going? We're recording. It's a little late on a Monday night.
I know. This is our new vibe. It almost feels like.
Yeah, we're keeping our viewers engaged by it's guess when this was recorded. It's been 8 years since. We're talking about Tsunami again. So the latest. But
Man, yeah, I don't want to sidetrack us, but yeah, I went and looked up those videos last week after we talked about them, and they were just great.
there's nothing better than like finding like the old school like show or commercial or something that you saw when you were a kid, and it just washes over you. It just brings you back.
Just the nostalgia, bro. It's a hard drug, man.
Just before the sadness of life hit all of us.
Exactly. Before things got real.
I just stare at the camera.
Well, hello. Actually, yes.
Welcome.
Yeah, we're the Pixelists, and that's my buddy Blake over there.
Hello.
I'm Will, and I just said this, but we're the Pixelists, and we're happy to be here tonight, talking to you, but also talking to each other. You know, if you're new here, we like to talk about games, video games, movies, TV shows, and just anything, really anything we enjoy.
Catches our fancy.
Yeah, exactly. And specifically tonight, though, we're going to be talking about What If Episode 7. What if Thor was an only child?
Yeah.
I actually remembered the title this week.
Yeah. That's funny because the running joke is you don't remember it. I have to remind you. And all of a sudden I was like, oh God, I don't remember the title. I can't remind him.
Well, hey, it all worked out then.
Yeah, okay.
We still maintained our symbiotic relationship. I don't know.
Sure. Yeah.
Well,
yeah, that was the episode. We're gonna be talking about that tonight. And welcome to the Pixelist podcast. We'll be talking about it. And as always, we're gonna be sharing our thoughts on it, but definitely down in the comments, tell us what you thought about it, what you liked about it, what you didn't like about it. And speaking of that, Will, I feel like you've been asking me the last couple episodes, what did you think about this episode?
This episode had some fun parts, but I think it was my least favorite.
Oh, no. I was like, finally one I liked, and this is the yin and yang of it.
I mean, it's not that it was bad, which I feel like we've said that every time. Like, good episode, but maybe just my least favorite so far.
Oh my god.
The end, the ending, which we'll get to, that brought it up like several notches. So I'm kind of like not counting the ending in my review. Just like,
sure.
I mean, that's probably unfair, but
it's part of the episode, you know? It'd be like, you know, you can't judge Endgame without also, or Infinity War without talking about Endgame. So,
and to steal something you said, which I feel like you might be attacking me here to say it. All pizza is great. You just prefer, like maybe I like pepperoni more than I like Canadian bacon, but pizza's pizza. And so this What If episode 7 was still pizza. I enjoyed it.
It's still a ride we're here for.
Yeah, just if you made me rank them, it's probably going to be toward the bottom for me.
It's like when you're driving on a road trip and like you're excited to get to the beach, but like, we're in Mississippi, it's like okay.
You're kind of losing me on the analogy, but sure.
Definitely losing our fans from Mississippi, I'll tell you that.
Was this one of your favorites?
No. No, I just thought it was funny because I enjoyed it. I mean, Yeah, I thought it was much less bleak than many other
True.
episodes. It's like,
True.
finally I don't have to be like considering my life after an episode.
Yeah.
I say that just jokingly. I mean, I still to this day the Doctor Strange episode was my all-time favorite.
Same.
I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it for what it was, which was silly, fun, comedic. The whole episode was pretty much just comedic, cameos, random moments. Really was no depth to the episode. There really wasn't. I think this would be what we would be the epitome of filler content. You're watching your favorite show, and it's like the random one-off of the
Yeah.
different. What are the different shenanigans that the main characters get into? And it's oh, we got to clean it up before mom gets home. And
Yeah.
I mean, so definitely it's definitely an episode you can't take too seriously. But yeah, my wife and we just were like, yeah, okay, yeah. And I always mention my wife because we're always watching it together. But
We get
I
it. You're
like the
married.
I like the episode. I enjoyed the episode. It's kind of like the old movie The Rundown with The Rock.
Classic. I love that
Not
movie.
Well, I mean, it's not really that great of a movie,
Whoa.
but you enjoy it when you watch it. You're
Yeah.
like, that was fun. So I feel the same way. I mean, like I said, there's no like deep meanings to the episode, but it's goofy and fun, and I guess I enjoyed it. So I'd give it a mid-tier grade. It's hard to rate it higher than the last two in terms of like overall meaning of the episode, but I did enjoy this episode more.
Okay.
If that's not confusing.
No, I get what you're saying. And kind of the reasons you said there were why I kind of rated it a little bit lower. 'Cause it was fun. It was not bleak, at least until the end. And kind of just irreverent and like old I never say the right era, but like 80s movie kind of like you said, like, oh, mom's coming home. We got to clean up from the party.
Yeah.
But the reason, and that for what it was, cool, great. The reason it kind of like scores lower for me though is because that really hasn't been what this show has been about.
Yeah.
And it's hard for me to like thus far every episode I've it's been easy for me to say like okay, like this is canon for that universe. Like okay, if zombies existed, yeah, that's like a far stretch from what we actually know in the MCU, but if that were to happen, like I believe this is believable to me. Like this is what that would look like.
Yeah.
This to me was like it was like a comedy movie. Like I didn't actually see this being real, whereas the other
Yeah.
ones I did.
Right.
And so
Yeah.
that's why it kind of lost me a little bit.
Yeah, you make a great point. I mean, there definitely wasn't anything very believable about it in the sense of, you know, humankind's first point of contact turns into a global party with a bunch of aliens. I
Yeah.
mean, yeah, and everyone's just here for it. They're just like, yeah, let's do it. And it was also a bit of a strange episode for the seventh episode,
Mm-hmm.
knowing we have the second to last episode, obviously in a couple of days, and then the finale in a week.
Yeah.
It was definitely a bit of a weird episode to be on the back half of the series for this season. But from what we saw in the finale, the last few minutes of it, I mean, it could be what sets off those final two episodes.
Yeah.
Maybe before we get into that, do you want to do a quick?
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
feel like the recap's basically there was a massive party and
Yeah. That basically
me.
is it. But I'll try to give a quick one. So again, the episode was what if Thor was an only child, meaning Loki was not his adopted stepbrother or whatever. Um, so episode picks up back with similar to how Thor 1 started with Natalie Portman's Jane Foster character and Darcy, in that van trying to, research the stars or whatever. Very similar to the first movie. Anyway, Thor arrives and they're like, "What is this? Let's go check it out." Come to find out, like Blake and I have already been talking about, Thor has arrived with his friends to have a party on Earth because apparently without Loki in his life, he has become kind of a tool and just a huge party boy. And so he starts having a rager on Earth, and there's so many cameos here that we can maybe talk about a little bit later. But basically, all these different faces from different parts of the MCU show up, including some like quite uh, strange ones, or ones that don't really make sense, like Surtur himself,
Yeah,
the
he's all
fire demon or whatever.
he's there for it too. He's just like,
Yeah.
yeah, this is great.
Including Loki does show up though. He and Thor, even
Right.
though they're not brothers, still have a relationship, and Loki is in his full-fledged ice giant form. Um, but yeah, so they're throwing a party. Shield gets wind of it, and he's causing some havoc on Earth. So they're like, we got to deal with this. They call in Captain Marvel since she's about the only one that can go toe to toe with a powerhouse like Thor. So she comes, is like, get the hell off Earth. They have a little bit of a fight. He kind of wins in this first encounter, and then they continue partying, while he and Jane kind of have a flirty relationship. Shield decides they may have to nuke him to get him off here, and they send Captain Marvel to fight him one more time to see if she can deal with it. But meanwhile, Jane instead is like, "Well, I'm gonna go talk to his mom. Like maybe Frigga, Thor's mom, can fix this." So she like shouts at Heimdall, gets teleported to the mom, lets the mom know what's going on, and mom gives a little communication to Thor back on Earth. Is like, "What are you doing? Like you're in trouble. I'm coming." And so then Thor's like, "Oh my God, my mom's coming!" And so they rush to clean up Earth right before she arrives.
Weird how
Uh,
long it takes.
yeah,
She's
that's
on the
one.
longest, like this instantaneous like travel by light
Yeah,
suddenly is like taking an eternity.
that's one of the things I wanted to talk about. But yeah, so she's on the way while they're cleaning up. She gets there, everything's, spick and span. He's managed to do it. But of course, she still kind of figures it out because he forgot to clean his hammer or whatever. But then the episode ends with Thor going up to Jane and being like, "Hey, I really like you. Can I have your number?" And she's like, "Well, let's go on a date." And so they plan this date, and it's like happily ever after. But alas, in the closing seconds, we see a portal open up, and seemingly it's Ultron Vision with all the Infinity Stones, and it's very ominous. And boom.
But and then the faceplate though kicks open and it's Kang's face, right?
Oh, I didn't catch that. I thought it was
You didn't
Vision.
catch that? Oh, I thought it was Kang.
Was it?
Pretty sure it was Kang.
He had the Mind Stone in his
Yeah,
head.
but it was Kang's comic book mask basically.
Are you sure about this?
No, I'm not sure about it. I'm just in the moment being like, okay,
Okay, I didn't catch that at
maybe it
all.
was
If that's
Vision.
what
I
it
don't
was,
know.
I thought it was like, and we don't know, but I thought it was like Ultron if he actually got to go into Vision's body, like he was planning to, and then he had all the Infinity Stones as well.
Yeah, I mean that makes sense. I was thinking of we know Kang is going to be jumping across timelines, and it for me it looked like Kang, but I also haven't read anything on Reddit. I'm sure someone's already said like this is what it is.
I don't know. I haven't seen anyone say it was Kang, but I haven't done too much sleuthing, as it
Have
were.
people said it's Vision?
Yeah, I've seen a lot of people talk about Vision and slash Ultron, but not
Dang
that
it!
doesn't mean they like know that's who it is.
Dang it! Dang it!
I like that though.
I
That
guess.
would be crazy. I mean, both are pretty crazy.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, anyway, yeah. So that was the episode, and yeah, definitely the ending of it, for sure knocked it up quite a few notches.
Yeah.
Where to start in this episode?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, we kind of talked about what we our issues with it. But one of which being, again, real quick, is just why would all the like why is the entire universe this different to where all these random cast of characters would just be like partying on Earth? Like I mentioned, Surtur, like Nebula's there, the Grandmaster,
Right.
are like have all these people just given up on their typical like conquests that we've known them to have from the
You
normal
can't you
MCU?
can't think of it that way. This is a shenanigans episode. This is
I guess.
like you said, it's like a comedy movie. It doesn't make sense, but they're there for it.
It just seems like, wow, the universe is a much better place when Loki is raised by his own people because, all these people are just chill and partying together.
It's a good point. I mean, I mean, the TVA was they were wrong. You know how
Yeah.
they described Loki.
Although actually, that's a good point. That on the whole, they did seem to be wrong, given what I just said. But in the case of Thor, they were almost right. Like Thor without Loki's as like his foil, like is
Right.
kind of a douchebag. He doesn't kind of reach that potential.
Well, and it's Loki that convinces Thor to go to Jotunheim to face the frost giants, and that's what then gets Thor banished to Earth. And it's also Loki that essentially forces Thor to think of someone other than himself. He sends the big robot dude, the
Oh
guard,
yeah,
basically,
yeah,
and Thor essentially decides to sacrifice himself to save his friends, and that then in turn makes him now worthy again to wield the hammer.
right.
So yeah, I think fool is a great word for it. He's this catalyst for humility, and so without that, he is he's the ultimate party guy, and I'm enjoying life as an Asgardian, and anyone who says otherwise is a big party pooper.
That yeah, pretty much exactly the episode. Which it was cool that again, except for Brie Larson, almost everyone was the actual actor. Like even Natalie Portman was back, which made me wonder if like similar to the Doctor Strange episode, how like everyone was themselves from that, and we kind of wonder if that's maybe he's gonna have some like big tie-ins to his movie. If maybe this is in some way important to like Thor: Love and Thunder. Like I don't know, maybe
I,
it's unrelated at all, but
I saw it as it was really exciting news to know that Natalie Portman was coming back for Love and Thunder. I saw it more of her getting her feet wet, getting back into her character. Which I mean, her character isn't so much like her original character, I guess. I mean, she's kind of like the stereotypical, uh, you know, damsel who's fluttering over the hero, I guess.
yeah,
But it was really nice to see her on the credits list though, and be
yeah,
like, okay, yeah, she's getting basically back into the MCU. But yeah, wasn't Chris Hemsworth voicing Thor again?
yeah.
And then so was I'm blanking on Loki's
Tom
actor name.
Hiddleston.
Exactly, Tom Hiddleston.
Yep.
And I was telling Joy, my wife, I was saying, it's interesting. It feels like the characters who have, it feels like maybe have closed their chapter in the MCU. Iron Man, Captain America, and Black Widow.
Mm,
For the most part, we haven't seen them revoice their characters, but it feels like the people who are still invested and engaged have continued to come
yeah,
back, which has been really cool.
yeah, for sure. And even I'm pretty sure that was Jeff Goldblum for like the two lines as the Grandmaster.
That's the one voice I forgot to check for. But yeah,
I'm pretty sure that was him.
yeah,
Uh,
you might be right.
which again, just I mean, I guess I just gotta let it go, I guess. But just
You got to, man.
what a
Yeah.
weird reality this is.
Well, I was kind of trying to envision like what got them all there. Like, was there like a universe wide beacon that was like, hey, the party's happening here? Like, come here.
I
Um,
mean, I guess maybe Thor put it out. I don't know.
he put out the memo, said we're
Yeah.
meeting up here.
I mean, clearly he's like known for it because there was that whole like recurring story thread about like the meteor or whatever that exploded where they had been previously.
Yeah, like the dying star or whatever.
Yeah, I kept waiting for like the other shoe to drop with that, like to find out that like, oh yeah, like everyone there died because we partied, like, and it was gonna take like that was kind of gonna be the dark turn that he just like had no empathy and just was, but that didn't happen, and
Right.
but
I think it was more subtle than that of like, and it's what is sort of like the impetus for Shield, the like their entire actions is this partying will essentially become so reckless it's going to destroy the world, I guess.
yeah,
It's not a very, I don't know if it's compelling enough to justify like nuclear weapons.
right,
And also sort of backstabbing Captain Marvel, like it's like what's his name? Like the dude who ends up working for Hydra,
oh
who's part
yeah,
of Shield.
Crossbones I think
He
is like his
becomes, yeah, thank
bad
you. He
guy
becomes
name.
Crossbones, actually. So yeah, Crossbones is even like, but what about Captain Marvel? And I'm for whatever reason I'm just blanking on every name tonight. But Fury's number two, who's
Oh
like in
yeah,
charge.
Maria Hill I think.
Yeah, Maria Hill. Thank you. Maria Hill's like, she'll be okay, and I'm like, shouldn't we have checked this with her? Like, you're just gonna nuke Captain Marvel, and I don't know. I mean, it was definitely the big guns were coming out, I guess.
Yeah, how strong is she? She was saying like her punch is like 10 mega nukes or something crazy
Yeah,
like that.
megaton bombs or something.
Which that's nuts. Which it was kind of cool to see her. I mean, I guess they weren't both going like 100%, but it was cool to see them fight. And I
Well,
guess
and she was doing pretty well against Thanos in Infinity
yeah,
War too, or
that's
in
true.
Endgame, excuse me.
Yeah,
Which it does make you excited for, or at least wonder for Captain Marvel 2, who's going to be a compelling enough villain that can match her power.
yeah, true. It we find out that she's unworthy though, which was interesting.
Right.
Which not many people are, so it's not like I expected her to be, but it's kind of cool that they gave us that tidbit.
But here's the thing that was interesting about that is he has Mjolnir, but Odin never had the reason to enchant Mjolnir to force Thor to become worthy to wield it.
Yeah, that is interesting. Unless he like did it off screen, like maybe he did it for another reason in this universe. But then you'd
But
wonder, like, is this Thor worthy? Like he's kind of
that
a
that's my point is, yeah, he hasn't had the development that actually makes him a Steve Rogers-esque worthy person, I
yeah.
guess.
So why can he
So,
lift it?
right.
You know? Yeah, I don't
I
know.
like to think it was more of like only Thor can wield this hammer type of universe.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Which it was interesting that for all the different cameos we saw, that we didn't see any cameos of any of the Avengers.
Yeah, true.
I mean, they were on their planet, and yet none of those people were there.
Yeah, that's weird. I was thinking about like the timeline of things, which all my all my basis was from is this Vision Ultron. So just know that going into it. But I was like, because I mean, that Vision Ultron may not even be from that universe. He came, whoever that is, they came through like a portal, so they might have been from any universe, right? But I was just getting to thinking about like if it was that one, like maybe he was successful here because the Avengers really never formed because Loki never like was their antagonist for the Avengers one.
I guess the if the timeline is matching Thor 1, it's happening simultaneously as Iron Man 1, the Hulk.
Right.
So yeah, I mean these people probably haven't even, I guess that's the explanation, is that none of these people have actually developed into their heroes yet.
Yeah. I mean, maybe even Cap might even be under ice still. I don't know.
Right.
I always forget when that shakes out.
Yeah. Right.
But yeah,
Well, I was gonna say I'm scoping Reddit, and it looks like pretty much everyone is saying Ultron Vision. So
hey man, I liked the
we're
Kang
just
curveball.
gonna. Well, let me find. I'm gonna throw up. Let me pull up the picture real quick.
Hey, what? Hey, come next week. Maybe it is Kang, and we could be like, we were the only ones.
No, Episode 8 poster reveals the return of Ultron as Vision. Dang it.
Hmm.
So this brings me to my next point that I wanted to mention. We've talked a lot about, are we getting a second episode? If there's ever been an episode that's been worthy or set up for a follow-up episode, I feel like this was the one. And it seems like that's the case with our next episode.
Yeah. So I mean, let's talk about it because, like we were just talking about, it seems as if he portals in from somewhere else, right? So
Right.
seemingly this, I'm just gonna call him Ultron for because I feel like it is like he's Ultron in Vision's body, which was
Right.
supposed to be his body. Um,
Right.
so Ultron is, and this is a whole can of worms here because the Infinity Stones in the comics only work in the universe they're from. Which, if he's like a
Right.
multiversal Ultron with the Infinity Stones, maybe they're just washing their hands of that for this. Like maybe in the movies it's gonna be
Yeah.
different. But anyway, so he's walking
But but
around.
but, but wait, in they take the stones in the time heist
Yeah,
though.
it's very confusing. But like,
So
because that's like supposed to be, it's that's not their own past, right? But it's still supposed to be like the same. I don't know.
yeah.
It's
It's
it
the
gets
coiled
murky.
thread is
Yeah.
what we're, yeah. we're getting way off base. This is gonna get way too confusing to
Yeah,
get into
yeah.
this. All right, but continue. I interrupted you.
But so seemingly he's from another universe, and this is like an Ultron that is perhaps conquering the multiverse, even.
Yeah.
So that we've talked about this, that may be the threat that necessitates the Watcher going to pluck all these people from the different episodes we've seen to like come together to maybe stop this.
I don't want to brag, but we're pretty good at picking up on where shows are heading. And we've been saying it feels like we're heading towards some kind of interdimensional, inter multiversal threat that will, because the Watcher every time I can't get involved, yada yada, which means we're naturally being set up for him to get involved.
Right.
This seems like this could be. This poster is really freaking cool, by the way. This could be the thing for sure that sets up plucking, Dark Strange and all these other characters.
It seems like it. And what's interesting is that the Watcher was surprised by this. You know, at the end
I
of the
wanted to
episode, he's like, "Wait, what?"
I wanted to ask you about this because my impression of the Watcher is that he exists outside of time, and when he glances down on a universe, he sees the entire thing. He sees it beginning, middle, and end. And the only reason that was my perception of him was because in all previous episodes, he's not just like guessing on what happens.
Right.
He basically tells us the end of the story. He says this is what eventually comes to happen. Now, that to me that communicates one of two things. One, like I mentioned, he exists outside of time. He sees all the events that it's supposedly going to happen. Or two, where we're seeing is him telling stories of previous episodes that have happened in the past, and he is experiencing the Thor universe at the same time as we're watching it, basically. And so he's, rather than being like, this is the ending of what ends up happening, they live happily ever after,
Hmm.
he's sort of like hopefully optimistically saying, yep, and they're likely to live happily ever after. Um, and that's maybe why he's surprised. I don't know. I'd love to hear your take on this. Help me understand this.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like it could be either, but like, I mean, obviously the implication up until this point was, I think, what you were saying that like, he sees all. I guess he doesn't know all. Like, it's not that he's omniscient because he is the Watcher. Like, he is there to observe, so he doesn't know everything. But uh, yeah, I don't know. I think it could still be either. Like, maybe he does see it from that like bird's eye view, and so he should be able to see beginning, middle, and end. And yet this, for whatever reason, is a surprise. Like, and that is something crazy. Like, wait, what? Or maybe he doesn't see beginning, middle, and end, and just like the previous episodes were like him telling these stories, but this one we now like are caught up to the present, and this was something he didn't expect. I don't really know what to make of it, but I think it's definitely something they like called attention to for a reason, like him being
Yeah,
like surprised or whatever.
from what we've seen from these Disney Plus shows is that it feels like every plot point is incredibly intentional.
Yeah.
I mean, I say that after, Mephistoing through WandaVision, but yeah, we've been saying for a while now that let me just get to the point. Him being surprised is in and of itself a really massive implication, I think, about this show and what's going to happen possibly in the next two episodes, but definitely in the next episode. Um, because it's not, I don't know if it was the expectation of the viewers to see the all knowing watcher suddenly be like, wait, what? Like, this
Yeah.
isn't supposed to happen.
Right. And to me, like you already kind of touched on this, but that just is, to me, it's almost confirmation of what we've been saying, that he's going to get spurred to action now because this finally a threat has been so massive that he feels the need to intervene. And again, this is pure speculation here, but if this is an Ultron with seemingly, pretty obviously, the full Infinity Stone collection, that has given him the ability to traverse the multiverse. Like, seemingly that is the power that's allowing him to do that, as opposed to just anything else. I'm assuming
Mhm.
it's the Infinity Stones.
Right.
Which, if that's true, and this is probably a stretch, a Mephisto, but we were teased with another very powerful entity who is probably going to have a full set of Infinity Stones, zombie Thanos. So what if the full set allows you to traverse the multiverse, and that zombie outbreak might like
Bro, you got to let this episode go. You mentioned in that episode that this was the one they were coming back to.
just you wait. Just you wait.
I just love how you're looking for so desperately looking for ties.
I'm just saying, if that's what Ultron's using, then we may have a zombie who's about to use
I
it.
envision you as like that Wolf on Wall Street meme where Leo is like sipping and then points like that right there.
Oh yeah, that's
is that not Wolf on Wall Street?
No, it's the one about crap. Where he's an actor?
Oh yeah.
What is that called?
The one with
What about like those
Quentin
murders?
Tarantino's movie?
Yeah.
I've never seen it actually. So
it's Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, I think.
Yeah, right.
Oh, you should see it.
Yeah.
It was good.
Yeah. Okay.
But yeah.
All right. So if we see a zombie Thanos appearance, then I will tip my hat to you, sir.
Thank you. That's all
I will apologize on the Pixelists for doubting you.
That's all I ever wanted.
Yeah, there's a lot of implications for this follow-up episode. I like when shows break the formula, though. It's a great way to keep a show fresh when I feel like we always talk about Lost on the Pixelist.
Great show.
Great show. Seasons 1, 2, and 3. Always flashbacks in every episode. And then suddenly in the finale, spoilers, if you haven't watched it yet, pause. But also, dude, what are you waiting on?
Yeah.
Finale, it's a flash forward.
Ooh.
In great moment, by the way. One of my favorite things about Lost has been watching it with people who've never seen it and then experiencing that episode at the end with them.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's been
we have to go
amazing.
Back.
Yeah. But anyway, by the way, Hollywood, please give us a show like Lost. Just BT dub.
Come on.
But anyway, same thing though in What If is we've had episodes, they've established the rules, which is every episode is a one-off insular story. And then they break that rule in the sense of now you have a villain who seems to be crossing over timelines and we're getting a follow-up episode. So I like when shows do that. I'm excited for the episode coming up. I'm also wondering how they're going to, Thanos was never defeated with the Infinity Stones. Once he had them, the only thing that defeated him was basically himself when he decided to destroy the stones.
Yeah.
So we haven't seen a force strong enough yet that on screen can take him on. Ultron, I don't know what your perception is. Ultron versus Thanos toe to toe. I would lean towards Ultron. So Ultron in vision form with the stones. I just don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know how this gets answered.
Yeah, and he has a freaking vibranium body now.
Right.
And a whole army of robots as well. So here's what I'm saying, all right? Zombie Thanos and his army of zombies versus Ultron and his robots.
Yeah, okay.
Anyway, so we have 2 episodes left. Do you think they're both going to be like a 2-parter? Like the final 2 are going to be a 2-parter covering this like epic finale of whatever it may be? Like if you think we're getting the continuity?
I think it's one of 3 things. I think we have this follow-up episode, and the final episode is on its own, returning back to the norm of how the show has been done. That feels the weakest. That feels the weakest to me because going back to just like a singular one-off episode just doesn't seem to carry on the momentum of what we're potentially seeing here.
Mm-hmm.
The other option I see is it is a one-off, but it ends with a cliffhanger to set up season 2. Because we know that there originally was planned 10 episodes. They basically ran out of time or whatever and pushed episode 10 to the start of season 2 of episode 1. So I could see it being a pairing, these 2 episodes and then the next 2 episodes that set up the next season. Or what I would prefer would be it really is a 3-part arc It's told in 3 episodes. We have more that gets developed in this next episode, and then the finale wraps it up and potentially, I don't know, sets up like a multiversal war. Sets up. I mean, there's some pretty incredible implications that we're going to know the result of when we see, or we're going to see the next iteration of it when we see Multiverse of Madness,
Yeah.
maybe in No Way Home. Um, I mean, it'll be interesting for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah, I mean those are great points. Like maybe this is just a single cog in the big wheel they're turning for like the next few phases of Marvel. Like maybe this is just part of a setup, which, you know, why not do that in What If? You know, they've made big plays in Loki and stuff, so I don't know, that'd be really interesting if we just got like a tease for something that was picked up in Doctor Strange 2, which I mean, we've talked about the potential of the Dark Doctor Strange maybe even showing up in that movie, but
Right,
which would be
right.
cool.
It would be cool. What's your take, by the way,
On how it's
on
gonna wrap up,
yeah? What are we getting here?
I think we're either getting like the next two episodes are we've like the ending to this one was a setup, and now the next two are gonna kind of be like a two-parter finale of how this threat is dealt with. That's what I hope, and that's my best guess. Otherwise, I'm guessing that the next episode is again like a normal episode, but fragments of this are appearing in it, like similar to how we got this tease at the very end. Maybe there's a few things that start happening in episode 8, and then episode 9 is like the big team up finale. But it is interesting the fact that this one episode got pushed to season 2. Like, do we know that it was episode 10, or could it potentially have been, one of the more standalone episodes that they just didn't have time for, so they pushed that? Because if it was episode 10 and it was like the climax of what's building up here, it's gonna be kind of disappointing to have to wait till season 2 to kind of have it resolved.
It seems to make more sense what you said, that it was like, random story episode, like episode 4 or whatever, and they said, "Hey, scratch that. Let's just put it in the next season."
Yeah, I hope so.
So,
But so yeah, that's my hope slash guess.
yeah, okay. Well, we got 2 days, less than that, to find out. Are you going to
Yeah.
watch it tomorrow night or Wednesday?
I haven't for What If I haven't been staying up to watch them,
Yeah, okay.
so I'll probably watch it Wednesday. But maybe come finale time, I might stay up for that one if it's.
Yeah, okay.
We'll
Okay.
see.
All right, cool. All right, well, anything else you want to mention?
Um, I don't think so. I think we pretty much covered it for
Yeah.
the What If Thor was an only child.
Yeah. Well, definitely for those of you listening, let us know in the comments your thoughts on, what are we going to get for the remainder of this season. We'll go ahead and just call it Ultron Vision. We'll just give that one to you.
Hey, it might be
Um,
Kang.
Definitely let us know your take on what's going on here. What does this mean with the Infinity Stones and the implications of this? And don't forget to follow us. We're on Twitter at PXLists. That's at PXLists. And all we got left, we got to do our thumbnail.
Oh yeah. I was gonna say like Ultron, but I don't really know how we do that.
Yeah, I don't either. We could also do like a party on type,
Okay.
thumbnail.
Yeah, I like
So
that.
like, like a or something.
Wait, your camera froze.
Okay, I was like, he didn't like that.
I know, I just didn't see it.
You just froze when I did it. I was like, okay, he hates that idea. I was thinking like a, like a
Yeah, I
rock
like it.
on, Yeah.
All right, you ready?
Yeah.
All right, nice.
All right, cool. All right, well, that's the Pixelist conversation. We'll catch you later.
We'll see you next time.